Hey, it's Josiah, and today's episode is for nobody. There is no real audience for this, but this is my show and I can do what I want with it. So on this episode, I am talking about The Real Macaw. The Real Macaw is a kid's adventure movie from the late 90s. It's an Australian movie that had an American release where John Goodman voiced the Parrot. It's about a parrot helping a kid find some treasure buried on an island in the South Pacific. Caleb and I loved this movie when we were kids. We were at the perfect age when we saw it, and we just latched onto it. We'd watch it over and over to the irritation of my parents. My mom did want to correct the record and say that hearing the same bit of media over and over as a parent makes you irritated, but she now thinks back fondly on memories of Caleb and I marathoning this movie several times in a row. I've always been curious how well the movie would hold up, and I thought it would be especially fun to bring my brother on to talk about it. Kelli had never seen the movie, so she's joining as sort of the neutral party here, unclouded by nostalgia. It's a fun one. But before we dive into the episode, I do need to say that you can support this show on Patreon. For a mere $3 a month, you get several bonus episodes per month, as well as deleted scenes from free episodes, access to the Fruitless Discord server, and your name read out loud at the end of every episode. Recent bonus episodes have included the second installment in our series on the Righteous Gemstones, featuring Josh Christensen and James C. Liker, as well as an episode of The Music Exchange, where Josh and I discussed Sprained Ankle by Julian Baker alongside Monotheist by Celtic Frost. All this and more for $3 a month. If you're not quite ready to commit to helping the show out financially, consider just leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps people find the show, and as a little bit of incentive, I will read reviews at the top of episodes right here during this kind of intro section. So, there you go. And without further ado, on to the episode. You are listening to Fruitless, a podcast hosted by me, Josiah Sutton. This is episode 44, The Sutton Brothers Regress, featuring Caleb and Kelli.
So when I was watching this, wait, I should probably say this.
Let's pause it and let's just say, hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Fruitless. Caleb's here with me. Hey, my brother.
Hello.
Caleb.
I'm here.
And sorry, I'll cut me saying that out. Were you gonna add something?
I was about to say I'm queer, but
okay,
but that's not the full truth.
And I'm also joined by my girlfriend Kelli / Chimera, as you are going by on the Good Apples. I guess I didn't ask ahead of time how you wanted to go.
Which I love that, by the way. I'm just now hearing that.
Are you Chimera or Kelli?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
And this is an episode that is pretty much just for me. This is not an episode with any audience, I think, aside from Caleb and I, probably. Yes, we are discussing 1998. Did I get that year right? I did. 1998's an Australian film, The Real Macaw, written by Bruce Hancock and Matthew Perry. Not that Matthew Perry, though.
I was about to say.
It's just a different Matthew Perry. And directed by Mario Andreacchio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that guy's name right. This is a kind of a kid's movie from the 90s. And the only reason we're talking about this is because it's something that has lived in my head for a long time, because Caleb and I saw it at the perfect age to see this movie. And because of that, we just rented it over and over and over from the library. And we just were like, this is my favorite movie. This is the best movie ever. We evangelized about this movie to people as young 10-year-olds being like, this is the greatest movie ever. And I knew, thinking back on it in my head, this is probably just kind of a mid-90s movie. Just kind of a okay movie from the 90s. But it's also just got this like mythology, and then it turned into a joke because our parents like got really fed up with this movie after having to hear it over and over and over. Particularly my dad just got real fed up with it, and because of that, they would be like, "God, I hate that movie." My dad would be like, "Oh, I hate that movie," and Caleb and I would be like, "No, it's the greatest movie ever made. You don't understand." And so I've decided to finally face my fear. I mentioned on the Supernatural episode, I was a little scared of watching through the early seasons of the Doctor Who reboot because I adored it as a kid. I started watching that over the last few weeks. Been a wonderful time. And so I decided to do the thing I was most scared of, which is watch The Real Macaw. And we're going to talk about it now. Caleb, what is your memory? What is your memory of The Real Macaw?
Just some slight differences, but mostly it's all the same. It's probably the greatest movie still ever made. We did mostly rent it eventually after getting it at the library. It was mostly through Netflix, through the mail back in the day.
Oh, back in the day.
Through the mail, yeah.
Mail-in Netflix movies.
Yep.
Yeah, and we watched the hell out of it. I watched that almost as much as I watched Bug's Life. And
yeah, that was another one. Yep.
That's how I became a Marxist.
That's what did it. No, but people have heard of A Bug's Life, and that's been the difference between that movie and The Real Macaw, is no one's heard of it, it feels like. Have you met anyone who's ever heard of it?
No, legitimately not. It's such a strange piece of 90s, 2000s history. Because it was released in the U.S. in 2000 or 2001, something like that. It was later.
But I cut you off there. I do realize. Tell me more about your experience. So Netflix, we got it from Netflix.
Like you said, watched it a shit ton of times. I particularly loved it because I loved historical stuff. Like because the first video game type things I was playing or you and I both was the strategy games, Age of Empires, Rise of Nations and shit. So I've always had I've liked history. I like most kids, I like knights and castles and shit. And so this was pirates. Pirates are cool as hell. It's also got the whole Indiana Jones vibe, with a slightly, besides the punching Nazis part, a slightly better message than Indiana Jones.
That's true. That is true.
We love indie punching Nazis, but
I do love, by the way, you talking about how you liked it because of the pirates really does capture a kid's perception of a movie too. Because let's also be clear, the pirate is in only maybe the first 3 minutes of the movie.
It's incredibly memorable.
Yeah, it's stuck with you.
The music, besides the like, what's her name? Like Tracy Chapman ripoff. The beginning part of it is so iconic to me. It's like the circle of life almost. Like it's part of the, I don't know. It's very stuck in my head. One of the very first scenes, they started off with it being set in Brazil where the pirates were in 1850, which is 100 years or more after the pirate golden age, which they really dressed them like you'd think a pirate with a parrot would have, very different clothes from 1850.
Yeah, but, big cinema sins sound. Yeah. They got that wrong.
Before we talk about how Kelli thought about this movie, the main thing to say, like the reason they did that was because the type of macaw, which is the oldest living macaw, I think, it lives 140 years. Mm-hmm. That doesn't even in 1998, that doesn't go back to the
Right.
pirate
So they
golden age.
had to kind of play some games with it.
They did some scales on whether do we go historically accurate or animal accurate. Well, this is mostly about the parrot, so we'll go with the parrot.
We'll go with the parrot. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, the treasure is a big MacGuffin. It really doesn't like matter except for in the beginning and the end. You know what I mean?
Well, it fucking saves the day. So
Well,
suck
right,
my
but-
dick.
And so we wanted someone who is a little more objective than Caleb and I to come to the table here. So, Kelli, you watched The Real Macaw for the first time last night. How do you feel about The Real Macaw?
I don't know. It was good. Just a lot of
It's kind of like Uncharted, right?
not no, unfortunately not.
What do you mean? There's a treasure, Indiana Jones influence,
There was not
white
enough
people.
like hot women with knives going on,
That-
you know?
That's true.
For
That
starters.
is true about
They're
the
not-
Uncharted movie, as it does have a lot. It does have hot women with knives.
There's more going on in its cinematic masterpiece that is
And the Real Macaw does have
Uncharted.
Tom Holland, the greatest actor ever.
Yep.
no,
Or
but
Mark
it was
Wahlberg, who would have stopped 9/11 if he could,
That's true.
if he was there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm hijacking things.
No, you're fine.
No, you're
Wahlberg is
fine.
my
You're good.
hero.
So you think the movie's fine, Kelli? Is that your kind of...
Okay.
it's good. I mean, probably if I rewatch it just like in another mood,
Yeah.
I'll think it's the greatest thing ever. I just generally really like adventure type stuff. Like Caleb was saying, is like, I mean, tons of people get into pirates, treasure, like an adventure, the hero's journey, just like
Yes.
generally speaking. And like this does a lot of that. Ultimately though, it was like a kids and family movie though. So
Yeah,
it was like there was a lot of emphasis on like how you should make your way in the world
Yeah, there has to
as
be
a
a
kid,
message.
as a dad, as a grandpa,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
this. And so like I was constantly thinking about that the whole film. Is I was like, this is a kids and family movie.
Yeah, you didn't have the nostalgia blinders like we did, because I remembered the plot for the most part, so it fills in these gaps. But if you're seeing it for the first time, you've got this unbiased lens,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, my thing I noticed is that I mean I kind of remembered the plot for the most part, but what I really remembered was the visuals. Like
Yes.
so many scenes
Yeah.
visually imprinted on me. Like that opening scene where they're getting the treasure out of the Amazonian
Yes.
temple or whatever. I like remembered every angle to every shot, and like I don't know. Yeah, it was crazy. It was very weird to rewatch, actually.
It is, because that was one of my favorite scenes from the movie, is just because you get to see pirates. But for being like a cheap movie, it does it well. And like the treasure and everything, I always found very captivating. But like when the pirates, so like first off, the way the movie starts is it shows parrots chilling in a tree, or one parrot, and then the main parrot flies down to his parrot girlfriend, and then he joins a pirate very quickly. But the main thing that I remembered from the movie when I saw it, but I had kind of forgotten, was that they didn't shy away from showing that the pirates were forcing the natives to show them where the treasure was.
Yeah, that was this is the thing. Like, okay, to be clear, there's not a politics to this film. Like, we're not gonna like be pulling too much out of it. But the two moments you could make an argument for there being a politics to Real Macaw, it's kind of funny because it's the beginning and the end, really. And it's like, yeah, I was kind of surprised by it, because it isn't just like, oh, it shows a heroic European explorer find the temple. It's like, no, it's a bunch of like, indigenous folks in chains being forced to show where it is. It's like, it's like communicating at the beginning that this was like stolen by blood. It's kind of crazy. I was kind of surprised by that. Yeah.
It's really memorable. And then, but it still plays the like adventurous music, and then like the scene that is always stuck in my head is I thought it was so cool of them like using their axes and swords to cut through the stone to loosen it so they could lift it. That part is ingrained in my mind. Just the mystery of that shit. Like, because I loved, as a kid, we read all those homeschool history books. And I loved like especially the ones about ancient stuff, like the pyramids and like just tombs, anything like that. Early human history or ancient human history is extremely cool. And just seeing like someone unearth that in any setting is pretty neat. It drives that adventure vibe you want. It's like why, movies like Indiana Jones, Uncharted, National Treasure, all the greatest movies ever made. Let me be clear, I've not seen Uncharted, but I have seen
listing my favorite movies here.
Yeah, he's
National Treasures.
He's just sucking up over here.
National Treasure is good. I don't hate National Treasure.
Yeah, National Treasure is good. That's a fun movie.
I would like to rewatch that at some point. I remember loving it. And I think I still would.
Yeah, we were also the perfect age for that one when we watched it too. There's like an age when that movie is the coolest thing you've ever seen.
It's the same age as like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the same adventure. Like when you're a kid, like that's the type of shit you want to see is people finding a treasure, unearthing mysteries, anything like that.
Yeah, that's what's fun. But I don't know if we fully explained what this movie is, and so I do want to throw this out here as we begin and going into the plot here. This is a movie about a boy finding treasure with the help of a talking parrot voiced by John Goodman.
Yes, but he also has an unhappy home life.
Yes, and there's also tragedy at home, and there's an evil professor. It's everything you want out of a kid's movie,
Yeah, like the dad is empathetically enough, like try harder, that kind of thing. Like you're doing bad in school, and he's like, I only like grandpa.
Yeah, that's kind of the gist. Yeah. There's the grandpa that's all free spirited, and then the tight ass dad. Yep. And also, now I was struck by, and I didn't remember it very well, like from when I was younger until watching, but the soundtrack is wild. One of that is because there's that weird soft rock song in the beginning while they're getting the treasure, and I think it's at the end too, and that's interesting. I have no idea what to make of that. And then on the flip side, the soundtrack was done, like the rest of it, especially like the more thematic throughout the, maybe more like orchestral stuff throughout the movie was done by William Conti, who you might know as the guy who did the soundtrack for the first 3 Rocky movies. Like they got a good guy to do this soundtrack.
The soundtrack is good. It's memorable. The like mysterious songs of unearthing different mysteries. Like
listen to this. This guy did Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa, the Karate Kid 1 from the 80s, the Karate Kid Part 2 from the 80s, Karate Kid Part 3, Next Karate Kid, For Your Eyes Only, Dynasty, and The Right Stuff, amongst more and more movies than that. But like this guy, this is a soundtrack guy.
Yeah, it's good. And then that alt indie rock song at the beginning is something else. Let me say, because it's like how I would describe it is if Tracy Chapman got really into the Pirates and Love.
It's about treasure and love.
The true treasure is your heart.
Yeah, that's what it's trying to say.
Yeah.
There's a treasure in you, Josiah.
Yeah, it's
There's
like
a
that.
Treasure in me. I want to be free.
I think at some point I can't remember if this is actually at the beginning or the end, but at some point the music kind of wraps around to, and the real treasure is love.
Yes.
And so that's
treasure, love. Treasure is love. or the real treasure is love
And family.
and family.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
In this twisted world, because people who work at schools and museums will try to rob you.
That's right. We want to walk through this movie?
We really should set up the plot better.
No, I mean, we'll just go through the plot. I mean,
Okay.
let's
Yeah,
talk
let's do
through the
it.
movie. So as we mentioned, the movie opens up, at the ancient temple in the Amazon, where it looks like a group of pirates are forcing some indigenous folk to show them where the treasure is. And this temple is also where the Macaws live. And one of them gets snatched by a pirate. A pirate takes him, and he's got the gold, he's got the treasure, and then he's on his boat. And he's sailing on a ship
To the Pacific.
to the Pacific. Yeah, he's sailing the Pacific. And at this moment, the parrot, the macaw, whose name is Mac, I'll be calling him Mac from this point on, voiced by John Goodman.
But you cannot tell. You cannot tell.
No, you can't tell. No. He's kind of he's decides to be a dick to the pirate.
Yeah. Well, in a way, like, yes, he's trying to be a dick, but also it's like he's wearing the treasure from the temple he lived at. Like, what pisses off the pirate so much is he notices that the parrot is interested in a ring. So then he puts the ring on Mac's foot, and then Mac starts flying around.
Oh, and Mac bites him. Mac
bites him. And then in a
right.
drunken stupor, the pirate starts swinging at him and knocks over a lantern.
Yeah. He knocks over his liquor, so his liquor's all over the ground, and then he's swinging his sword at this parrot, and then he knocks over the lantern, and it burns down the ship. And so he arrives at an island where he walks like a certain number of paces from the shore to bury his treasure next to a tree where he marks it with an X and then dies right there.
Yes. Incredibly iconic, like stuck in my head scene is him with his last dying breaths hacking an X into a tree. But it makes me wonder what killed him.
Yeah, what did? Because
he was just so tired from swimming to shore that he collapses after burying the treasure.
Yeah.
Well, it was knowing that he couldn't bring that treasure home to his family, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, that's
right. Because he's a
he had
family
no,
man.
Because he
Pirates
had
are
no
always
ship to
family
get
men,
home, and so what's worth going on for? So
yeah. I can't even trust a bird. What do I got?
Yeah.
Oh man. And then from there it flashes us straight to the present, which is 1999 or 98, whatever it is in the movie.
In Australia.
And you said this scene imprinted on you when we were talking earlier. This opening scene where he's riding the skateboard, the kid, the main character, Sam, and the music's playing, and he's a badass. This kid's cool as shit.
Jingle or whatever it was. It's 90s alternative rock, and he's skateboarding, ducking under people carrying things, doing a cool kick flip over people carrying things, and then he gets home to his grandpa's house, and then he feeds his bird Mac and puts him on a train, a little RC train, and it was very iconic to me because I was like, that's sick as hell.
That's what you thought you were going to be like in high school.
Playhouse. Yeah, I'll get a fucking bird on a train.
I'll know how to skateboard, and I'll have a bird on a train when I grow up.
When I'm a real man, I will have a bird.
So, yes, the parrot that he greets when he goes to his grandpa's house is none other than Mac. Yes. It is, in fact, the real macaw that we saw at the very beginning. The
real one.
The real macaw.
It is a blue and yellow tailed parrot or macaw.
Kelli has a list of fun facts about the movie that she was collecting.
I actually more so have fun facts of other movies with birds. No,
Really
because I was gonna
struggling
say
with the assignment here.
I know I struggle to stay on topic. No, but I was just gonna add in quickly, just because I didn't grow up watching this movie, and so I don't have quite the same level of nostalgia that the two of you do. But when I was watching it, definitely a lot of things from it were, and I've seen something similar to this.
Yeah.
And I've seen other late 90s, early 2000s kids and family movies. And well, just
and
for
probably
starters,
grew up watching those as well.
Yes, also grew up watching them, and various ones that are also about conservation in various levels. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Because his grandpa, who he hangs out with all the time, is a bird conservationist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
he's kind of like a vet, right? Because isn't he? Yeah, he's like taking birds that are sick or hurt or whatever, and he's raising them and then releasing them.
Yeah, and Mac is like a permanent resident at his house.
Yeah. But the other birds come and go. Yeah.
Yes.
He's got a polyamorous relationship with these birds, you know.
Like rehabs them, and with the assumption that they will be let back into the wild. That it's just
pretty quickly after that, though, you know, they've got some good quotes with his grandpa about life is good. Why should I care about money? And in that, you realize that his grandpa is in a lot of debt for lawyers. He has to pay lawyers.
Yeah. Because, so after he has his fun little thing with his grandpa, and his grandpa, is all about living life and enjoying life. And, I feel so good to be alive. And there's always a new thing to learn and discover.
Family.
So then Sam, the kid's named Sam. I don't know if I said that. He goes back home. He has dinner. His dad's a dick to him because his grades are poor. And then, we find out that the grandpa is $100,000 in debt.
And as a reaction to that, who I can't tell if the dad is a son or a son-in-law. Either way, I'm assuming son, because he was able to put the grandpa's house up for sale to pay off the lawyers.
Yeah, something they have to be in. Well, they clearly the dad is in pretty good financial shape, because at the end where he's just like, you know what, we'll pay your debts, grandpa, or pay your debts. Like that's at the end he does that, and it's like, you could have been doing that this whole time. Anyway, no, but yeah, because this is how much of a dick this dad is in this movie. Grandpa falls off a ladder and ends up hospitalized. Yes. And while in the hospital, his son lists his home for sale to pay off his debts.
And doesn't give a hoot about the birds.
He doesn't, all he cares about is money.
Yeah. That's classic, 90s dad thing. He's always at work. He only cares about money. Yeah,
there's a real I was thinking of Elf while we were watching this.
Yeah.
There was I was wondering if this is a thing that is bigger than just this era, or if this I not kind of want to historicize this. Was this a big thing specifically in the 90s and 2000s? Was movies about dads that have gotten so sucked into work that they don't have time for their family anymore.
The movie where not Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton turns into a snowman because he doesn't appreciate his son enough, so he dies.
What's going on with that? Maybe this is an older archetype than this, and I'm needlessly historicizing it, but I kind of am now wanting to be what was there a big crisis of fatherhood in the 90s and 2000s? Really? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe a bit. I don't know what the cultural shift was, but there was a lot of it's just that's the Hallmark movie thing too. Is girl goes to her hometown, her shitty boyfriend is always at work, but this mailman, he's cool. He's nice. Yeah. There's a real, the movies have a real anti-work sentiment. The damn liberals in Hollywood don't believe in work anymore. Now they care about family values.
They don't care about being a family. Oh, yeah. So they're going to sell his house to pay off his debt and then move him into a nursing home. That's the game plan that the dad has.
And to kick it off, because, they're selling his house, they have to take in some of his birds, which the dad has no interest in doing. And he plans to give away the bird.
But before we go there, the one thing happens right before that that's super important, which is Mac lives with them for a little bit, like a day, I think.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right.
And Sam learns that Mac can talk, and not just like a parrot normally can, where they're just repeating shit. He's got cognition.
Yes. He remembers everything.
He's got language. Man, it seems like it would be really convenient if this conscious parrot had witnessed where some treasure was. But yes, this damn parrot is noisy, and so Dad tries to take him to I don't know the dad's actual name, so I keep saying Dad.
Nigel?
Is it?
No,
is it?
I was doing like a Nigel Thornberry thing.
This piece of shit, Rick. No, Rick takes the bird to the pet store,
which in the process, because he is a sentient bird, plays dead.
Yep. The bird's smart, plays dead. And then Sam bursts in, figures out what's going on. He runs to the pet store, bursts in, and then suddenly Mac jumps to life to fly over to be with Sam. And they run away, and they take a bus. Skateboard away, excuse me. And then they hop on the bus, have an emotional thing where the dad's like, come back. And he's like, I hate you.
You were nice to me, and then you're not, because I'm doing really poorly in school.
Yep.
Yeah. But then, he starts talking to this parrot because he can talk.
Yeah,
and
so
the parrot's like, we got to do something.
We got to do something to save Grandpa. And so the first step is the parrot, Mac, has the ring that he got from the pirate in that first little prologue. And so he says, take this to, and this isn't quite explained. Maybe I'm missing something here, but take this to Dr. Hagen at like some university or whatever. I don't remember where. Now, how does he know Dr. Hagen? Why does Mac know this guy?
Called Dr. Hagen?
Yes, he's like. I think so. Maybe I'm misremembering this.
Maybe he, because he's a smart bird, looked up who knew about the area.
Looked up where the jewelry. This is a complicated ordeal you're describing.
He flipped through the pages of the school, and it's like professor of South American Studies,
right?
and went there. I don't know. We're overthinking this slightly because this movie's perfect.
Okay, so that's going to be your stance throughout this movie.
This is kind of like how in Doctor Who, Josiah, where it's kind of just like the Doctor appears, and it's just this entity
Dr. Hagen is like that.
Just kind of appears.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Point is, they take it to Dr. Hagen.
In the process, they prove that all academics are the devil.
Yes.
And he, because he seems like a nice guy, he's smart, and, he shows them the ring, and he's like, okay.
I'll pay $3,000 for that. That's what he said.
$3,000 whole dollars.
Yeah.
And he's a kid, so he's like, all right, it's solved. So then he the professor gives him the ring back, and he's like, meet me here at this time tomorrow.
So when they go back home afterwards, he heads back to his grandpa's house and finds that there's a real estate agent there who's selling the house.
Which, before we go off a little bit, I quite actually, for one of the jokes, I quite liked the parrot saying, look out, it's a thug, and the kid saying, it's a real estate agent, and him saying, what's the difference? I still found that pretty funny.
Okay, that one didn't get me, but what got me was related was right afterwards, which is the fact that as they come to confront the real estate agent, Mac is just immediately like, kill him! We gotta kill him! Just like no hesitating. This bird is out for murder here.
Gotta take us home. He's gotta protect his home.
Oh man. And so then but Sam's like, okay, come on, we're not gonna do that. And he's like, well, I'll pay you $3,000 for you not to sell the home. And the real estate agent laughs at him, and then I think Mac does attack the guy
He starts flapping at least, so he tries to intimidate him. He's threatening to bite people the entire movie.
Yeah, the entire movie. This Parrot's a bit unhinged, which is, I think, one of the things that makes the movie still kind of entertaining for me now.
It still made me giggle a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this unhinged ass Parrot, dude. And so they're like, oh, no, we need more money than this. How are we ever going to get this much money? And so then Max says, well, I know where there's a ton more treasure. Although I think the way he says it is really funny in this because, again, imprinting things. There was audio. There's a auditory imprinting in my head of the way he goes, treasure, in this moment. Treasure.
Which I don't we forgot to mention that John Goodman is doing a indiscriminate Latin accent. I'm not sure if it's Brazilian or what he's going for.
I didn't even register it as him trying to do that, but he probably is.
Yeah, because I thought he was just, when I was a kid, because I didn't know anything, I thought he was just trying to sound like a parrot. But no, it's like he's trying to sound like of the vague Latin nationalities.
All of them.
Yes.
Just kind of in general. Jesus Christ.
But then he says, treasure.
Treasure.
It's a masterpiece. It's
a
great
thing
ever made.
Yeah.
So
they use the $3,000 that so they go to Hagen, and they're going to use the $3,000 they can get for the ring for a plane ticket to get to that Pacific island where the treasure is. So they go to Dr. Hagen, and in the conversation, Sam accidentally lets it slip that there might be more. And then we suddenly see the evil on Dr. Hagen's face. And he does the thing always where he grabs him by the back of the neck and he's like, there's more. There's more.
Yes. And then a colleague of his walks by, so he has to let go, and the kid slips away.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I can't think of the name of the character. He's the Nazi with the white suit or not the white suit, the first Nazi from Indiana Jones that gets his hand burnt by the metal. He's that guy. He's got to chase him. He's got to follow him.
Yeah. Wait, it's the same actor?
No.
Oh.
I'm comparing.
You're comparing it in the story.
The roles.
Okay. I see.
Nazis, professors.
Oh,
same
man.
thing, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, it's so Mac and Sam get a flight, but of course parrots aren't allowed on a goddamn plane. You know what I mean?
That's a health risk. They carry disease.
Right, but this movie doesn't care about health risks because it's a pre-COVID-19 film. I don't know. There's no reason it isn't. But this film doesn't care about health risks. And so...
also a pre-9/11 notable in terms of airport security.
That's true.
He's just like, my dad bought me the ticket. Okay.
Yeah. When they check him in, they're like, kid, that bird's gonna need to go in cargo. And he's like, yeah, no problem. See ya. And then finds a way to make it not.
Yeah.
He's Home Alone 2 in it.
Yeah.
You know? But with a parrot.
Yeah. So
twist.
How he gets the parrot, gets Mac to be able to come on the plane is he pretends to be a ventriloquist. And the parrot Mac is his little thing. And this is a gag that comes back numerous times throughout the movie, him pretending to be a ventriloquist, and then Max actually talking, and Max being a jackass, and then the person is mad at Sam thinking, well, he's a ventriloquist, he's fucking with me.
Yes.
This is the joke of the film.
Like that bit from, well, yeah, because that's what makes him real. He's the real Macaw. But
right.
What you're talking about, the first time they do that is, again, when they're on the plane, he sits next to some businessman, which I always found this scene very funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I laughed at it a bit. As a kid, I thought it was hilarious. But it's him pretending to be a ventriloquist, and then I can't remember any of the specific lines he does other than hitting on the stewardess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then he tries to they get the peanuts, and he's a parrot, so he wants the peanut.
Yeah.
And the kid is like, not right now. That makes you look real. And they start doing tug of war over the peanuts, and they spill it all over the businessman.
Yeah, riffs in it, throws at the businessman, and then businessman's all mad.
Yeah, and then the kid's like, "I'm sorry," and then Mac's like, "I'm not."
right, yeah. So the guy's just getting more and more mad because Mac keeps undoing the apology.
He gets mad and leaves. So then it's just the kid and the parrot.
It's just the kid and the parrot.
But then they reveal that the professor was on the plane.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I didn't write that down. Wow.
Novice.
I wasn't taking enough notes, I guess.
My notes are like, soundtrack is great. Calling an estate agent a thug is very funny. Peanut scene was funny.
Hell yeah. That's good. That's fine.
Yeah. I didn't have to consult the notes. That just came up naturally because it's the plot.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Yeah, so they get to the island and they poke around a bit, ask around or whatever.
Yes. Real quick, the island is Coral Island, which I've looked up is part of Thailand.
Oh,
which I did not know.
Okay, they're in Thailand in this. I didn't realize that.
I think.
Is it?
Well, because when I click on it, it takes me to what a coral island is, which is not what I'm looking for. Because like lots of islands are made up of dead coral reefs.
Or is it a fictional island?
No, but why would it say? Because I searched Coral Island where, and it says Thailand. Coral Islands. Okay, maybe it's more than one. Maybe I have to add the S. Coral Sea Islands? There we go. Okay, the Coral Sea Islands territory is an external territory of Australia. Oh, no, wait, that can't be right. That can't be right. That's too close. That's near the Great Barrier Reef. That can't be right. Well,
yeah, this is fucking impossible to Google. Jesus Christ.
Well,
I was going to say, just from the Wikipedia for the movie, it was it just says that it is a island in the South Pacific.
Thanks. In Oceania,
a little bit later down. A little bit later down, it says Coral Island.
Well, no, it does say Coral Island, but I don't know if that's actually a reference or not, because Coral Island is like, I don't know if that's a real place or if that's a fictitious, like the Bermuda Triangle.
Hotels.com says Coral Island, known locally as Koh-Hai or Koh-Hee, is a beautiful getaway destination around 3 kilometers southeast of Phuket. That's not right. It's Phuket.
Fuck it.
No, that's I don't know how to say that. The island has 2 main beaches, Long Beach and Banana Beach. Snorkeling off Banana Beach is a thrilling experience. Thank you, hotels.com. But okay, so fuck it. Where's that? Not to get too deep into the geography, but I'm a sucker for this. That's Thailand.
Okay. It's Thailand.
Okay, so the first initial Google search was right.
and then we got distracted because you can't Google Coral Island
because it takes you to the Wikipedia page for the physical coral islands that are everywhere.
And then there's also the Coral Sea Islands near Australia.
Or there's what I found, which is a 1857 Scottish young kids fiction book, which is called The Coral Island, A Tale of the Pacific Ocean.
Very cool.
That's what I was referring to when I was saying this is one of those things that I feel like has been referenced in literature,
because it's a cool name. It's an easy name to write something about when you want to do something tropical themed. And for this, though, it happened to be close to Australia somewhat. Not that Thailand is very close to Australia, but they're closer than, yeah.
There you go. Well, Mac bites some girls at the beach.
Yeah, and then the kid's name is Sam, right? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, Sam.
The kid is Sam is mad that Mac ruined his game.
Yeah, Mac was flirting with some girls, Sam was flirting with some girls, and then Mac bit them because he remembered where the treasure was.
He saw, like it does this, like I don't know if you've seen Highlander, but if that director does a lot of these like flash like memory scenes, and he's like, oh, and the parrot's like, oh, and he sees the pirate limping across the beach, but there's bikini women around him. Yeah,
that's right.
Yes, but he knows that they're in the right beach. So where is the tree?
Yeah, exactly. So they're able to do the paces. So they count the paces, they walk the paces. There's the whole scene with they're doing 1 hippopotamus, 2 hippopotamus, and then
he just starts naming random animals to throw Sam off.
Well, yeah, because Sam gets mad at him for saying hippopotamus over and over and over once they're in the hundreds.
And then he just starts going like zebra, baboon.
Yeah. Anyway, they find out that the treasure is, at least according to Paces, somewhere in a big hotel/resort.
Yes.
It's on the island. So there we go. And there's a ton of trees everywhere, so they have no fucking idea. So they go in and they try to check into the hotel, and they are not allowed to check into the hotel because he is a minor with a parrot.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say probably.
Well, first it's that he's a minor, and then the parrot shows up, and they're like, hell no, no kids, no pets. Get out.
Get the hell out of here, man.
Get your influenza out of my hotel.
But Dr. Hagen checks in. They see that he checks in.
Yeah, so. Professor Bitch. He checks in and he has an idea that the kid is near.
Yeah,
but he hasn't seen him yet, I don't think.
No, he has not found him officially yet. Sam and Mac are able to sneak in by Sam putting on a dress and pretending to be a lady with a hat that has Mac on it. As on the hat, like a parrot hat.
Big feather cap, yeah.
Yeah. I'm really starting to realize how much we are just talking through the plot of a kid's movie. You know what I mean? Every once in a while.
It's awesome. And anyone who listens to this will know how awesome it is because of how in-depth we're being.
Everybody, yes, exactly. Everyone's going to love this movie.
Yeah.
They sneak in, but they get seen, and so somebody's chasing them. Somebody's looking for them. And the guy stands right below a coconut tree, so Mac is able to drop that coconut on that guy's head. Yeah, I took some detailed notes because I really wanted to make sure to mention the coconut tree.
It's classic... like the Three Stooges type bonk humor, you know?
Yeah, it is a good bonk, I will tell you.
It's near perfect, I would say.
Hey, so anyway, they do eventually, though, get caught, and they get thrown out, and Mac is saying that they gotta climb, or they gotta dig under every tree. Now, meanwhile, back home, just to quickly throw this in, the family's like, oh my god, where's our son? Our son is gone. Oh no. And then they ask the Grandpa, do you know where our son possibly could have gone? To which Grandpa goes, oh no, was Mac with him? And
so Grandpa knows the parrot talks, and he knows about
this parrot's been going on and on about the fucking treasure, so he's like, oh Christ.
God, this again.
Sam and Mac have run off to the South Pacific.
Because as we previously said, the grandpa doesn't give a shit about money, so he never cared about the treasure. He's like, oh, this parrot's just saying hoopla.
The part that did make me like laugh out loud the most when I was watching this movie was definitely when he is first arriving at the island. Can't remember if it's before or after Mac starts biting girls, but that's kind of just like dispersed in throughout it. That's part of the fun. Is watching Sam try to retrace the steps of the original pirate that we see at the beginning cutscene. And Mac trying to kind of coach him through it. He's like, you need to take this many steps, and then he's like, okay. And then it's like clear he's not doing the right stride of steps to get to the right spot, and he's not taking on the right persona. And so
Yeah.
he's like, you really gotta be like a pirate. You gotta be thinking like a pirate. And then just watching this kid like trying to
Trying to
through
walk like
here.
what he thinks a
Yeah.
pirate would walk
Yeah.
like.
Like pretending he has a peg leg, he's just like kind of waddling. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's got whimsy. It's a whimsical
Yeah.
movie. I just love the word whimsy. I use that any chance I can. But yeah, it's good fun, good family fun.
It's good fun. So they try to get back into the resort again to find this treasure. They climb over a thing, and they go and they look around at the trees, and they try to dig under all the trees with a stick. But then a security guard comes out, is looking for them. And I kind of wanted to bring this up because this happens a couple times. I love how security guards work in this movie, or people that are looking for them, because they behave like characters in Skyrim that are like just starting to detect you sneak, you know, like chess when they're starting to suspect, because they're looking in the opposite direction and they're like, hello,
Was that
is there
the
anybody
wind?
there? Oh, it must have been nothing, you know, like
Which brings me kind of to a point I had written down, which, so there are exceptions to this movie, or exceptions for scenes in this movie, but a lot of time the public, the extras around him, do not notice the presence of the parrot at all when he is squawking loudly, flapping loudly. The kid is talking to no one except the bird, and there's only a couple moments, like when they're walking across a crosswalk, you see some lady like react to the bird being there, but most of it, unless it's part of the plot, you don't see people reacting to him.
everybody just kind of rolls with the bird, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, I think that's how I would be too. Like, I think if
that's
somebody
cool.
was just being weird with a bird, I'd just kind of be like, yeah, okay.
Oh yeah. You live your truth, brother.
Yeah, I just have very tunnel vision. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be gawking. I wouldn't be like,
You're
strange,
task-minded.
strange young boy. Why are you talking to that parrot? I would just be like, oh yeah,
That kid sure has a bond with that parrot. That's what I would think.
that parrot seems.
Well, and to what extent they might clock him as a kid with a bird. As in,
Like,
I know that didn't
like
that didn't
autistic?
sound very like a kid whose dad has a lot of money and has bought him a really cool expensive pet. You know what I
He's
mean?
made it his
Yeah.
personality. I get
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
and they're
like,
like,
this
don't
is
feed that.
don't
The kid with the
Don't.
sugar glider.
don't mess with the people who are like buying the birds and
Yeah, you don't want. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the guy that can afford a macaw. All right.
yeah. So
Ay.
just
Oh man. When they're like the security guards looking for them and everything in this scene, this is where one of the only like the lines that's burned in my head happens a lot. It's not even that funny. It's just stuck in my head all the time. Is when Matt goes, "You're wearing sneakers, so sneak." I
I had forgotten about that line, but that one made me giggle, and it kind of made me mad that it made me giggle.
I think that one left it like imprinted on me, especially because I think Mom found that line funny when we watched it for the first time. Because I think I remember Mom saying that joke a couple times later. Anyway,
Yeah. But it hits that type of your mind, even as a kid, where you're like, that's so dumb, that's so funny.
yeah, that's
It's so dumb, it's
It's
funny. Yeah.
Anyway, they climb into an air vent, and that's how they get away from the security guard.
Yeah. And which I say a lot of that part is some of the most iconic parts of the movie to me. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the action scene, so of course it is. But
I love that we're talking about this mid-budget movie that's been completely forgotten and using the word iconic, because for us it is. But
it's incredibly iconic.
there's very few other people this is true about.
Okay, I bet if we were in Australia and we asked the right people, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that shit was sick, you cunt."
Well, I Yeah, that's how they are. You're right.
Yeah.
No, I was looking at the Letterboxd reviews for this, and most of the people that gave it like where I placed it, like a 3-star review, were other people who'd said though that they were like, I owned this movie on VHS as a kid, and I don't know where my parents got it, but I watched it 1,000 times. So this is a hyper specific experience that you and I have had that also like 100 other people throughout the country have also had, it seems.
Kind of on that topic, I can't remember if, because, you know, you and I both would have recommended this movie to anyone. I can't remember if we showed any of our friends it or not.
I don't know. I don't remember sitting down and watching it with another person.
Yeah.
But I remember
mentioning that I thought it was awesome. And they're like, oh, neat. You know,
there's a talking parrot.
If I knew who John Goodman was at the time, other than being in Oh Brother Where Art Thou, I would have mentioned that, but I didn't know until I was way older.
That's how I would sell it now. I think if I were trying to...
That's the selling point.
Now is like, do you want to see John Goodman voice a parrot? That would be...
Yeah.
That would be it. And also, that's the only way I can make this episode we're doing right now kind of make sense, because John Goodman is in the Righteous Gemstones, and I'm doing a Righteous Gemstone series right now.
Yes.
So technically, this connects. Connections. Wow.
This is John Goodman. Where was he then? Where is he now?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, think of John Goodman in 1998 was really slumming it in some Australian mid-budget kids movies.
Well, I think I had read too that it was there was the Australian one, and apparently that version, the original version of the film, the parrot was voiced by an Australian.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought so. Where he was definitely a different actor at the very least.
Okay,
and John Goodman did the American version of it.
This is what I was mentioning. Okay, this connects to what I was mentioning earlier, that it was released a couple years later in America. It was 98 in Australia, but it was like 2001 in America.
How did I miss this information?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, because...
Oh my God, that means there's a different version of this movie.
Which one have we seen?
That's a good question.
So you said you didn't necessarily notice the accent he was doing. Maybe I watched the Australian one because I watched it for free on YouTube.
Oh, I watched it on Tubi.
Okay, so I'm not saying this for sure, but I would need to hear what the parrot sounded like on the Tubi version.
Because the Tubi one was I'm very certain it was the version we watched when we were kids.
Okay, because I might have watched a different version, because pretty much for the most part it's the same, but I didn't remember the parrot doing an accent. I feel like I would remember that.
Yeah, well, I was saying I didn't feel like the parrot was doing an... Yeah.
Shit. This is wrinkling my brain.
Yeah, we're discovering more about this movie than I thought we would. So I will say it's
a modern Citizen and Kane.
They got a Real Macaw Blu-ray release that's got like both versions on it, or something.
I want the Steelbook Criterion collection.
Oh man! Looks like it's only a DVD release. But...
Do you think John Goodman remembers he did this movie? Because if it's him doing lines from an already voiced parrot, he might not remember this. This was just a paycheck.
Oh yeah. Because
he was in a couple years before this movie. He was in most of the the best Coen Brothers movies. Like he was in The Big Lebowski. Like he was killing it in the 90s, and then he was just like, oh, I can read a couple lines as a bird. Easy money.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody should ask John Goodman if you know. I'm certain somebody listening to this knows John Goodman. Could you ask him if he remembers voicing Mac in The Real Macaw for me? Thank you.
And did he have a better time voicing the parrot, or did he like being Fred Flintstone more?
That's a good question.
Because I forget I've never seen it. I kind of want to. Is the live action Flintstone movie with John
I've never
Goodman.
Seen it either. Yeah,
it sounds awful.
It sounds great.
Like in a good way.
Well, you know what? In the next part
If you're
the
about
movie.
to say, okay, good. I was about to say, I thought you were about to say you were going to do a podcast episode on the Flintstone movie.
No, I'm not doing a podcast episode.
Because if we're doing a
Flintstone
podcast movie on anything, it's the Michael Keaton Snowman movie. But
yeah, do we want to do that in December?
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm so down for this. I'm so down for this. Because that movie was awesome.
We can make it like a trifecta National Treasure Uncharted Snowman Dad Day.
Yes. Hold on. Well, okay. So a couple things. I'm so sorry. This is unrelated to the movie, but so the movie is called Jack Frost. It came out in 1998, and 3 of Frank Zappa's 4 children, Dweezil, Ahmet, and Moon Unit, appear in the film.
Oh, I feel like I knew that, actually, but I don't remember where I would have learned that.
That's such a Zappa movie to be a part of.
Yeah, that's...
You know, we were talking about System of a Down earlier and Dadaism. You know, Frank Zappa, that's the dada. You know what I'm talking about?
Talking about Dadaist music. This is the worst episode of Fruitless I've ever done.
This is the best one. I'm killing it right now. I'm so likable.
Oh my god. So they go into the air vent.
Yes, they go into the air vent.
And this is when Matt gets real mad because he wants food and they're above the kitchen.
Iconic.
Great. Yes, iconic. You could definitely describe a movie that is not for sale anywhere but eBay or used on Amazon as iconic in this iconic scene.
I just remember the line so well of Sam being like, I can't dig while I'm hungry. Which I thought was funny because I'm like, you could probably dig if you were hungry. It'd be hard, but you could. You could.
Oh, right, because Sam's the one that wants the food initially, actually, right? It's not Mac.
No, I think it was Mac, but
either way,
there were a couple moments during the movie I was looking at my phone. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but
either way, Mac ends up on like a fruit tray that gets passed out to somebody, and there's a good scene of the waiter poking Mac with a fork before Mac flies off.
It's such a service worker look of panic. Like, is this my problem? What do I do?
And so they're running away. They're trying to escape from this whole situation, and they climb up through some sort of vent thing, and they pop out. It's like a trapdoor for a stage, and they pop out on stage to an applauding audience, where they discover suddenly they have to be an act, and so they redo the ventriloquist thing.
And they announce themselves as the Real Macaw.
That's where the name of the movie comes from.
Yes.
And then they go on to just tell like kind of the most hack, like, you know, like,
look at this guy. He's got a lot of girlfriends. I bet he's going to be tired tonight. Oh,
it's just the most whatever. And then, but I will, okay, there is a pretty good bit toward the end there. Yeah. Well, no, it's because when Max starts going, like, because Sam's like, you can't be insulting the audience. They're going to turn on you. And Mac's like, no, they love it. And then, like, the next, like, minute is just Mac insulting the audience. It's like, you'll laugh at anything, you fucking morons. I mean, doesn't say
humans are so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Birds, we walk like this. Humans, they walk like that. That's a Futurama reference.
Yep.
You connoisseurs out there.
And the audience loves it. And so they leave stage. And then right as they're leaving stage, the general, like the manager of the hotel, it seems like, who's after them, the guy who's after them, suddenly is like, ha, I caught you. But then the owner of the hotel, the guy at the top who has more authority, is happy about their performance and says that he will give them a room. Yeah, and so they get a room at the hotel.
And they eat all food.
And they eat a rum cake, and Matt gets drunk as shit.
Yes, I forgot about that part.
This part rocks.
It's very good. He's like hiccuping and stuff. Which, while we're on the hotel thing, I saw a lot of Home Alone 2 similarities to this.
Yeah, I can see that. Home Alone 2, yeah.
Tricking his way with his dad's card onto a plane, staying in a hotel, getting
Donald
chased
Trump
by
shows
guys. Donald Trump shows up.
Yeah, no, I could see the similarities.
But that's just 90s kids action movies. Like Home Alone was incredibly influential. Like that is
yeah.
an iconic, timeless movie. Yeah, so all those 90s kids movies, not all of them, like, The Goonies has its own thing, a bunch of them have their own thing, but that like premise of like a kid having freedom for the first time or something like that is pretty prevalent.
The reason that I think that trope works so well is because like the parents watching the movie can be like, oh, that's funny. That is kind of how a kid would behave. Mm-hmm. And a kid gets to engage in the fantasy of what they would get to do.
Yes, exactly.
If there were no parents for a day and they could eat all the ice cream and, do
watch movies. Yeah.
But all good things come to an end.
Yes.
Yeah. Mac gets drunk.
A little too drunk, a little tipsy.
No, yeah, Mac gets drunk and then they have a heart-to-heart though, and they talk about And this is in the sense of like, always the archetype of this is, oh, I do kind of miss my family or whatever. Sam is like, I don't miss my family at all or whatever. And Mac's like, oh, I haven't seen my family in hundreds of years and I miss them a lot. And he's like, you'll start missing them. I
didn't at first, but it sets in,
Yeah. And then Sam admits that he does miss his family. He just wants his dad to like him again.
Yeah, because he used to hang out with his dad. His dad was fun, but then something shifted, which you realize it's him doing terribly in school. Which, his dad is a dick in the movie for sure, but you're also like, I mean, I get why he wants his son to try. But that's the whole point of the movie is, so we kind of left out that his dad's big beef with him is that he gives up too easily.
Sure, yeah.
Which is prevalent with the whole treasure hunting part of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's ultimately what the hero's journey in this film is just he's learning to actually try to do things.
Stick with things, yeah.
Stick with things. Anyway, they go to try to find the treasure again, and then they discover that somebody's already dug under every tree, and it was fucking Hagen, who shows up and does the weird grabbing him by the back of the neck thing he always does.
Yeah.
But Hagen doesn't have the treasure. He's trying to get Sam to tell him where the treasure is. He thinks Sam got the treasure. And so they take him into a cafe. Hagen takes him in a cafe and is talking with them. And it is in that moment that Sam realizes behind Hagen in this tree that's in the cafe. It's inside the cafe. There's a giant X on the tree.
Yep. In the restaurant too. Yeah. The main, they're all seated eating food and everyone just around them is the X on the tree. And he has to pretend like his mind isn't freaking out right now. And I can't remember how he escapes the table.
I think he just bursts up and runs away at some point.
A grown man can't chase a prepubescent boy without it looking really bad.
Yeah. But he still follows him because I do have this is actually where I put the note in my notes about the Skyrim character thing, because I know that this happened at this moment. I think Hagen has a flashlight or something and he's like, where'd you go? Looking in the opposite direction.
Or when he runs away at the table too, it's because he looks away for a second, and just in that brief second, the kid just runs away, and he's just
yeah.
Whoa!
Oh man, so they go into this security room closet thing. I don't know. It's got a bunch of buttons with alarms and stuff, and so they're trying to figure out what to do. And this is some classic physical comedy. We got Mac rolling around on the buttons, and it turns the fountain off. It's like a little face that splurts water out of its mouth that's in the lobby. It turns it off, and then the guy goes and is like, "Oh, what's going on with that?" And then Mac bumps it, and it turns back on, so it sprays the guy in the face. Just classic shit.
Yep.
And while they're in there, they find a blueprint map kind of thing of the resort. And so they're like, we can figure out where the treasure is because we're going to go below the tree. They can go below the tree because, the tree is it's inside the resort now. It's in the cafe. So there is stuff under it. supposedly.
Mhm. And Sam is like, well, we can't dig down because there's a sewer. And he's like, well, you're not digging down. You're digging up.
Yeah, there we go. That's one of those lines.
Which I thought that was very fucking cool as a kid. I still think it's really creative, like the whole resort being built around the treasure.
Yeah, that is fun.
I think
that is
it's
fun.
it's a way of, not having a kid running through a temple or something, but still
yeah, or just like digging around in the woods.
Yeah.
Like
it's way more interesting, and it's such a when he's digging for it's still like for a kids movie, it has to have the emotional, the conflict of it all, and him like trying hard and wanting to give up as he's digging into the mud and nothing's happening. Also, so I should say, well, how they even get to the spot is Mac tricks the kid into going through a tube, which makes him go down a slide and almost fucking die.
yeah.
Which the kid responds with, I should snap your neck or something like that, or I'll wring your neck, one of the two. But then it's over this, which I always thought this was really intimidating and cool, was what he has to dig over is it's kind of like a concrete funnel. And at the bottom is what leads to the sewer. And then the tree is up on that funnel part. So he has to stand on the edge of the funnel and like dig without falling in.
Yeah. So there's danger, because there's that water below. You could fall in, you could drop the treasure in, you could
felt
whatever.
Really real as a kid. Like it kind of freaked me out, I remember, because I was always scared of drowning or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the visuals that's most imprinted in my head.
Yeah.
That one. And then the scene of him then digging at the wall trying to find the treasure. And he's digging. He's
about to give up, and then he does give up, and then Mac says, "Your dad's right. You do give up easy, or you give up when it gets tough."
Yeah.
Which makes the kid storm off, but then as he's storming off, he realizes that the professor is down in the sewers with him, but he hasn't seen him yet. And when he rushes back, the parrot's gone.
Yep.
So then he angrily starts digging again, and one it's like Shawshank Redemption, one angry, and then like water starts spraying, and then it unearths the treasure.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, like Indiana Jones exciting.
Yeah. And there's also a brief like going on at the same time as this is the family has arrived at the island now. They've flown in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
They're rushing to the police and trying to be like, oh, do you know where this Sam is? And showing pictures, and they don't know who, and they're like, we don't know where he is. And then right afterwards, as the family leaves, the guy who's pissed off about Sam at the hotel calls the police, reporting Sam to the police. And so that's how they all figure out what's going on at this hotel. So now everybody's on their way to the hotel.
Well, and they're starting to do some good lessons here too, because we got Grandpa working together with Dad again.
Yep.
They're all united to find Sam, and Grandpa's taking the opportunity to tell the dad, hey man, your kid's not doing too great because his dad doesn't know how to have fun.
Yeah. Yep. You don't have any joy.
You don't have joy, and a life for a child without joy isn't really isn't a life that somebody wants to live or something.
And if all you care about is money, you're not living.
Mm-hmm.
You're not living.
Yeah.
There honestly, there's some, it's cheesy, but there's some good lines in it about just have good life.
So Hagen shows up, as we said, and when Sam finds that Mac is gone in the sewer, suddenly he turns around, Hagen's behind him, he's running away from Hagen, and he bursts through a door, and it is another trapdoor back onto the stage of whatever, and he's like covered in like dirt and shit, and it's like, oh god. And he hops up, but he doesn't have the parrot, so everybody's looking at him all like, where's the parrot? Oh my god. And then at that moment, heroically, Mac flies in. And
they do another stand-up routine.
They start doing stand-up, and then the hotel guy bursts in, hotel guy who's trying to get him, and Mac flies over and rips the guy's toupee off. And they get mad, and then they're running, they're getting chased, they're running away. And so to create a diversion, I think they go back to the security closet or something like that. Whatever it is. Mac somehow gets on the intercom and declares that there's a fire. So now everybody's running out of the hotel, panicked.
Yeah, yelling purposeful instructions to make people panic more.
Yeah.
Like, run over each other, that kind of thing. Like,
and so the family arrives at the resort right at the same time as everybody's running out from the fire. Sam goes back, they're back in the tunnels again, and they find the treasure. Like pulls out, it falls down,
plays,
and the music plays. But then Dr. Hagen arrives while Sam is trying to pull the treasure out, and then finally, because it's like takes a bunch of work, Sam has to lean away from it. He pulls it out, and then he falls into the pipe of water that we were describing, along with the treasure. And and we're like, oh no, what happened? And then they get spat out with the treasure out of a pipe, like a drain pipe in the middle of the jungle or whatever, in the middle of the tropical forest. And then Dr. Hagen arrives and starts chasing him. And at this moment, the police finally get a hold of the family and say they saw Sam. And so they all arrive at the beach right at the same time as Hagen has, captured Sam. And they are on a boat going out into the ocean in this final climactic great scene here. They're out on the ocean on a boat.
Another scene kind of ingrained in my mind.
Same.
He is threatening him on the boat. Like, I basically saying, I can't have you alive because I need to take credit for finding it. And even you just being alive, people will know you found it. So the logic is not amazing, but he's like, I gotta kill this kid.
I gotta kill this kid.
There's no other options. This kid needs to drown.
Which I will say, not a lot pushing him into that. He went a little too quick into I gotta kill the kid. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, well, I truly have no other option, even though that's what he's saying. It's very quickly like there was one option ahead of him and he knew what it was. He chose the first option, kill the kid.
And he has the kid bound, and then it just walks away to drive the boat. And so the kid, he shimmies his way out of his bindings, and also, so he, the professor has the treasure, and the way he carries that treasure is he puts it on a dinghy attached to a rope attached to the main boat. Which,
like on a inflatable little boat dragged behind it.
Inflatable dinghy. So then he the kid, crawls out on the rope and starts fiddling with the treasure, and he keeps looking up, staring at the guy, and the guy's just like a Skyrim character, just dum-de-dum-de-dum, driving the ship. And then occasionally he looks behind him. He's like, I wonder what that was. Must have been the wind. And and the kid slowly shit. Okay, so now it's getting a little spotty. What does he do with the treasure? Because something happens to the boat, and I can't remember how the treasure.
So Sam goes back on, and I think he cuts a cord or something. I think that he grabs a knife and cuts the cord. That's the gasoline, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was implied. Yeah, some gasoline or flammable.
And then cuts the rope to get the dinghy pulled away from it or whatever. And then Mac, being a badass, he flies up there and he grabs. Hagen's been smoking a cigar, and Hagen and Mac swings down and grabs the cigar and says that smoking's bad for you.
He says a nasty habit in the version I watched.
Yeah, that's what it is, something like that. And then he drops the cigar onto the boat, and the boat explodes.
And Sam does object. He's like, "No, wait, don't." So this was an act of murder by a bird.
This was an act of violence. This was a war crime that Mac did in the South Pacific.
I kind of love the cyclical nature of this movie. It starts with Mac burning down a boat, and it ends with him blowing up a boat.
Down a boat. You're right. How did I not realize that? That's so on the nose too.
The treasure leaves Brazil. with a flaming boat and comes back to Brazil with an exploding boat.
That's right. It's beautiful. Mac is I mean, kind of a godlike figure.
Yeah, like not necessarily like a kind, benevolent god, but like a god who believes in order. Yeah, the natural order of things.
Yeah. He's bringing all things back.
I must bring the artifacts back.
But he's also chaotic. You know what I mean? He's
he's like a Loki or a that's really the only trickster god I know. Yeah.
Anyway, so there's an explosion, right? It explodes and all that, and then right around this time, the cops, have gotten a helicopter for, the family, and the family's on the helicopter, and they're going to try to pick up Sam. But in the explosion, it seems Mac looks like he's dead.
Yeah. He's gone rigor mortis. He's just floating on a piece of wood or something, and like Titanic. This
was the saddest image to me in the entire world as a kid.
It emotionally affected me.
The wet parrot just laying on the wood, and it's just like, no, Mac, no, not Mac. God damn it. Kelli, what were you going to say?
Yeah, sorry.
Were you agreeing?
Yeah, no, I was agreeing. I was also going to point out just like a funny behind the scenes thing where I had zoned out for part of the movie. And when I came back in was actually when the bird was waking up, and I was like, oh, what's happened to the bird? What the fuck did I miss? I was like, oh my God, what happened? And then Josiah's like, no. It's okay. You came in for the good part. We thought the bird's dead, but he's waking back up.
Yeah. Kelli was not paying attention to the movie when Mac was dead. was going through the mourning reaction in the moment when it was revealed that Mac was alive.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
It was good.
Yeah.
So, but before Mac wakes up alive, though, the dad is like trying to pick him, pick Sam up, and he's like, "You're gonna have to let Mac go. You can't bring him up to climb the ladder.
You gotta use both hands, son."
Yeah, and so he tries to, Sam tries to climb up, and then he falls off the rope, and so then the dad jumps in to save him, and then it's when the two of them are hugging and having this emotional moment, and they're saying, I'm sorry for being shitty to you.
I should have paid more attention to you. I don't actually hate home, Dad. I do like you.
And then suddenly we hear that awful croaking from Mac, from that little nightmare bird.
It's like, oh, you guys made up? I'm not dead after all.
I'm back.
And in light of his playing dead at the pet store scene, I'm kind of like,
he was fucking with Sam.
He might have been up to something. He's a magical bird. He couldn't have exploded.
Yeah, he knew better. He dropped the fucking cigar. He knew what he was getting himself into.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We know this is not the first time he's killed a man.
That's
or caused the death. This was a direct killing, though.
Yeah, this was his. Yeah, it was manslaughter prior to this. This was the first murder. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, this guy actually didn't die, though. Sorry to spoil that, but he also doesn't die.
That's lame. He should have.
Well, because it's rated G. Nobody can die in this movie. No, yeah. So, they have the treasure. Everything's awesome. It's all worked out, and they're at the beach the next morning or whatever, and they're all having oh wow, we did it, folks. The family's together with everyone, and they watch as Dr. Hagen is arrested, and then Dr. Hagen tries to run away, and then the dad runs and tackles him, and then Grandpa
is very slowly behind him going he's trying to help.
And after they kick Dr. Hagen's ass, Grandpa and Rick do a hearty laugh. They have
a chortle, if you will.
Oh, violence.
We men,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah, they did. They had a look into each other moment and be like, but that was fun though, right? Like tackling that dude, that was fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they literally do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they literally have that
I
dialogue.
thought you were going like like there's a dark Real Macaw 2 where they're like, don't you want to do it again? Like,
let's write a screenplay for this sequel.
Yeah, where it's Rick and the grandpa are out like assassinating people, and Sam's like finding some more treasure. I don't know.
Yeah, this is.
And when he gets home, he's like, "Oh no, what has my family become?"
It's just Max murdering people. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's when Sam goes off to college, Mac is on his own, and he starts to lose it.
Although, not to spoil it, Mac technically ends the movie in the Amazon in Brazil.
Yes.
So I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to think what fucked up thing. Mac is working in the Bolsonaro regime now. Things have gotten dark.
He's helping the CIA pump drugs into Latin America.
Yeah, dark Real Macaw 2. I think we got something here.
Oh my god. But
this is actually a perfect time for me to point out then.
Yes.
Here's one of my little fun facts then, since we're talking about
facts.
Dark Macaw 2. Is the blue and yellow-tailed parrot is the most commonly owned and the cheapest of the large macaw, that people keep as pets or that like collectors. It's like it's one of the most commonly owned ones. It's one of the cheapest ones when you're talking about getting a large fucking macaw, which is already expensive.
Really interesting because they're the oldest living of all the macaws. So like the cheapest one would be the longest lasting.
Yeah, I mean, so. I don't really know all the reasons why.
Yeah, I don't. Well, the pet trade is a mess. But
because like in distinction, the red parrots, the red with the green and the blue, those are way less common that those are a pet.
Yeah, and they're like the more iconic ones, roughly.
I think it also has to do with like their conservation status too, because like the blue and yellow parrots
they're not like endangered.
They're not. No, they're like whatever the minimal thing is on the conservation status scale. It's like the least amount of concern is for the blue and yellow tailed macaws, because they're I mean there's like also a market for them. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, apparently the red and greens they're of least concern, but they live like 40 years less than the green or the blue and gold.
Huh.
I wonder.
Well, but the older ones, one of the pitches that I was reading on some of the different, I was just like looking at like blog posts by I'm not sure what the right term is, but like a person who keeps birds, who rehabilitates birds,
a birdologist.
Yeah, a birdologist. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I was just reading various blog posts by different people, and they were saying that that you very much need to recognize that the blue and yellow-tailed macaws have use way beyond their reproductive years. So like they can reproduce early on in their life, but their whole pitch is they're really great birds because you keep them around to mentor the younger ones. To like be good for handleability, like people like them. I'm not really sure if it's like a temperament thing or what.
They're well behaved.
But I thought that was like really interesting. Also, if you connect that to like the broader message of the movie, is and something's not useful to you just as long as it's making you money, and then you get to kick it out and stick it in a nursing home. At the dad.
It's supposed to be a mentor. It's supposed to be
they're useful for mentoring the littles.
Yeah.
So you want to keep the grandpa around to take care of Sam, and you want to keep the macaw around to take care of all the other birds. And so I think that was part of why the grandpa had the macaw as like the stationary pet, whereas the other birds were rehab release type of,
That's actually kind of a really good reading you pulled out of that there too. That's a really good reading. I didn't think of
the bird aspects of this movie.
Well, yeah, no, because that totally fits it.
It does. It makes a total sense. If you run like a mini bird sanctuary out of your house, if you have a bird that looks out for the other birds, that makes total sense.
Well, and then for that to be the old bird that is representative of the grandpa also.
Oh yeah,
you know, like in that sense of like, yeah, you don't just get to get rid of your elderly, you know, grandpa or your elderly father here. He's supposed to be here to help raise this young kid. Yeah, like is happening with this. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such a
Yeah, that's very cool.
There's another reading you can pull out of this though for the one last scene we haven't mentioned yet.
Oh.
And that's the decolonial.
Yeah. Which I kind of spoiled this a little bit earlier, but the grandpa, they offer the treasure to the grandpa. It's like, hey, we can finally pay off your debt. And he is like, oh, don't do that. I don't money. I don't need no money. I'm rich in family.
Yeah. And then also the dad says he'll pay for it. So yes, Rick says he'll pay for it.
Piece of shit. You just want to get rid of your dad and the bird.
You could have done that this whole time.
But then the grandpa has, you know, one of the best lines in the movie, which is, I think you remembered it better.
Oh, I actually wrote it down directly.
Yes, right. You say it directly.
In referring to the treasure, he goes, because they're like, asking grandpa, what do you think he should do with the treasure? He goes, well, for us, this is just money, but for them, it's their history.
Mm-hmm. And earlier in the movie, he had talked about people's history defining.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, like at the end of the movie, the final scene is them returning all of these artifacts to the Amazonian temple they were taken from, all the way back in the 1800s, trying to kind of, I don't know, right a historical wrong.
Yeah. It's a kind of a powerful scene. I remember as a kid, like there's all these like local guys playing traditional instruments. Like it's all these people like gathering around to see this, you know, for the first time. Like, cause like if you can imagine that in real life, like that is something that rarely
that just
happens.
doesn't really happen.
They're all in the British Museum of whatever the Queen, you know, and you know. So it's just all these people gathering around and the kid being the first one like he was already in the temple, just setting it all up like it was supposed to be at the very beginning of the movie, and then him coming out to open it up to everyone.
Yeah, and like I mean, I think you could like if you really wanted to be nitpicky, you could make a case for there being kind of a white saviory thing going on here. But I will say I was just genuinely surprised. I was genuinely surprised that. Because when the first scene came in and I saw the indigenous folks in the first scene, I was like, oh God, am I going to be watching this movie? And I'm just going to be like, oh, it was really racist. And I didn't realize. So I was very pleasantly surprised to see like, you know, I don't remember if you said this on the recording or earlier when we were talking, Caleb, but like this has better politics when it comes to like how to treat historical artifacts than Indiana Jones does.
It does, because the one of the most like quotable lines from Indiana Jones is "It belongs in a museum." Yeah, you know, and you know it's all neat and fun for the movie, but then when you think about it, it's like he's in South America, he's in India, and he's just taking their shit for his college museum or whatever the hell.
Right. Yeah. As this was all about like, no, we don't need this here. We need to return it to where it comes from.
Mm-hmm. Their ancestors made it. It makes sense that they should have it. I don't know.
I think that messaging is like really consistent in the movie, both with returning the treasure is part of it, and returning it to its origin is like one thing, but then also just like part of the grandpa's whole messaging at the beginning with showing all the other birds he was rehabbing and releasing is like, and you should think of all of these really cool things, this treasure, these cool birds, this, and this, that, is like, we're just kind of helping this thing get healthy so that it can go back off and be in its actual environment and thrive. Is I'm not keeping this bird, is I'm like you know?
Yeah, trying to just right wrongs. This bird was injured, and so I'm helping it back. This treasure was stolen, so I'm going to put it back.
Yep.
It's Oh, that's nice. That's
yeah,
nice.
I thought that was really nice. And like, I mean, the ending of the movie is with Mac, you know, returning.
Yeah,
right. So then, Mac,
to his home.
Mac decides to stay. Yeah, and then in that nice sentimental moment, we suddenly get.
They spit on it. They stomp on that sentimental.
No, it's funny.
It's funny. Yeah. It's
funny. Is then the next like, oh, I'm home. And then his mom's there and his mom starts lecturing him for leaving. And so suddenly he's like, oh, I want to go back. Oh, Sam, take me back. Well, the mom's like, oh, I should kill you. You should. You know, classic.
He came from a broken home, a broken branch.
Broken branch.
A broken nest, you know.
Well, that's the Real Macaw. Do we got Real Macaw fever?
I got the fever. It is terminal, let me tell you.
We are about to start the Real Macaw revival with this podcast episode.
That's right.
People are going to be like, "Oh yeah, the Real Macaw."
This cult following is about to be Jamestown. Let me tell you.
What the fuck? Yeah, I guess we probably should do some final thoughts here.
Yes. Some ones from me. A bird person is an ornithologist. I remembered that like 5 seconds after I made the joke. Birdologist. It's an ornithologist.
So just to have it on the record, Caleb knows what an ornithologist is.
I know. And then so you had talked about the macaws, they be fucking when they're younger. So does that mean Mac's got he's a baby daddy? He got a lot of little parrots around the jungle?
Yeah, did he ditch a bunch of kids?
What? Yeah, because unintentionally he got brought out to sea by a pirate. So, but he can talk. He had an opportunity to get back there. He could have snuck his way on a plane. We know he can do that.
How did Mac get to Australia?
Yeah. Okay. So Thailand to Australia. It was 1850. So there's a good, century. Of being able to do that. So just going around with different people.
You guys, you're missing the best obvious point.
Oh, yes. What is that?
Obvious answer. He's got wings. He's a bird.
I knew you were going to say that. The instant you started this, I was like, you're going to say that. You're going to be like, I think he flew.
He probably flew there. I don't know. I mean, hot take that the bird flies, but...
You got me. You're right. Yeah,
but you're right. He's magic. It must have been some other...
Yeah.
He teleported there.
He's like an albatross. He can travel great distances. I'm practically an ornithologist myself.
Was that your final thoughts, Caleb?
I am Caleb, and I am a licensed ornithologist.
Okay, Kelli, how do you feel about this movie?
Really good.
Yes.
But if you want to watch another movie with a bird. And you also wanted it to be the actor from Monk, Tony Shalhoub. So if you want it to be if it's pretty much a bird, but instead of a kid, it's the guy who plays Adrian Monk, and he's playing a Russian immigrant who has got a bird, and that's another movie that came out in the late 90s. So there was actually quite a. It's called Polly.
Polly.
But Paulie, not the typical Polly.
Oh, like our college professor.
Polly. Yeah, so it's a different...
I have a bird fact. Mr. Bean voices the bird in The Lion King. Zazu.
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah. He's the bird in The Lion King.
Wow. I'm so glad.
Licensed ornithologist fact for you.
So glad we had these finishing expert opinions.
Yeah, thanks guys for this. Yeah,
I feel like I've gotten dumber.
Yeah, it is a late on a Friday night is what we're recording this.
I worked a 10-hour shift before this.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
It's Friday. It's okay.
Well, I found this movie plenty enjoyable.
Yeah.
Rewatching it, it is a fine kids movie. I got a bit of this like thing people have been describing of like 90s nostalgia lately, of like the 90s studio era of movies had a degree of competence that you don't see in even movies now sometimes, and I was struck with that throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Is a lot of the camera work, a lot of it, like,
fun.
it is pretty solid. Like it's
The skateboarding scene off the bat.
Yeah.
It's filmed fun. It's
yeah,
interesting.
it is a mid movie from the 90s, but it's just that like your mid budget, okay movie from the 90s just kind of looks really good now. Like, for the most part. I mean, the Tubi version of it's a bit rough because you could tell it is scanned from a DVD.
But yeah, I was watching somebody uploading it to YouTube, so I had the same.
You got the same
blurry.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty clear for the most part. My mind filled in the gaps.
Yeah, I might be on a hunt to see if I can get a DVD of this movie because I do think it's going to be lost media at some point.
I think it will.
Looking at how few people are watching it,
If you get one, we have to burn me a disc.
Yeah.
Can you do
Legally,
that?
I will never do that.
No, that's a crime, and we're not like the pirates in this film. We are good, normal blokes, bruv. That's what Australians say is bruv.
But yeah, I liked this movie. Rewatching it, and I hope that there's a Real Macaw renaissance.
Yeah.
If somebody who's listening to this is a parent
or a parrot,
show your kid, or I don't know what to say for the parrot. If you're a parent, show this movie to your kid, I guess. See what they think.
Yeah.
Of it. See if they latch onto it the way I did. I don't know.
Birds are cool. Pirates are cool. Treasure is cool.
It's very much like if you're a parent, definitely the Real Macaw. If you're not a parent, 1998 Polly.
I didn't make the connection. They're the same year. That's funny.
Yeah. If you're an adult that has consumed stuff that makes you intoxicated, consider the Real Macaw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure it's pretty great. This has been a wild episode, guys.
It really has. This is up there with from one of your other shows or podcasts, the Animals episode. This is
not nearly as bad as the
that one
Animals
was
episode.
bad. Yeah, no, I think this went well.
Yeah, for the real VLVC heads on here,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Animals episode.
Go listen to
with
the
Ross
Animals
and Caleb.
episode. Yeah,
it's one of the worst things I've ever recorded.
Yeah, because
well, thank you everybody for listening to today's episode, and thank you Caleb and Kelli for joining me. Is there anything you guys want to plug, like where people can follow you on Twitter or stuff like that, or no?
No, I am doing a social media cleanse, but you shall know me as Kelly/Chimera. Yes.
I'm not doing a social media cleanse, and I'm depressed. My @ is the Bog Hog on X, the Everything app.
And I hope people enjoyed Caleb on this, because I think Caleb is lined up to appear at least one more time this year on Fruitless, maybe more than that. So we'll see.
People will know who I am soon
The people, better get used to Caleb. Okay, I'm stopping the recording. Hey, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, make sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're new to the show, check out the back catalog. There's a bunch of other exciting episodes for you to listen to. If you really liked today's episode, consider supporting the show on Patreon. And hey, speaking of that, one of the benefits of supporting the show on Patreon is that you get your name read out at the end of every episode. So let's do that. This episode was brought to you by I Drink Corn Syrup, Yum, I Am Once Again, Leo Zachary Dickinson, Philip Cozy, 2007 Christian Rock, Aaron Thompson, Attention Francis, Derek Hale, Gavin Aronson, Joseph Gross, Kyle Gannis, Metric Conversion, Moss, Nathan Thiessen, Racecar, regular sized horse parentheses small, Robert Heilman, Stephen aka Spike Stonehand, The Worst of All Possible Worlds, Vicky Sutton, John Rutland, The Blurst of Times, and of course, Chris Barker. And now here is that song from the Real Macaw, Treasure in You, I think, is what it's called. Okay. Goodbye.
Do you know where to find buried treasure? Do you know where to dig for gold? You can search every land, over snow, over sand, and get only burning cold. But the world offers thousands of treasures if you